welcome to the ASU Activity Center on the campus of Arizona State University. Hello, everyone. I'm Leandra Riley, and joining me in this telecast is Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson. And Kathy, we said 16 of the best gymnasts of the USA are here, but really the one who's number one, Brandy Johnson, she's unable to compete.
That's right. Brandy Johnson came down with a virus, and it's being treated with antibiotics now, and she's recovering nicely. However, her teammate, Wendy Bruce, is here, and she's leading the pack, just ahead of Christy, Henrich, and Sandy Woolsey. And, of course, there's 1988 Olympian Shelley Stack. So it's going to be a tight competition for those 8 spots.
We said 16 of the best gymnasts, they were determined by the Nationals that were held a few weeks ago. What happened at Nationals still matters today. All-around title and taking 3 of the 4 individual event gold medals that were awarded. This 16-year-old from Altamont Springs, Florida, vaulted, balanced, and tumbled her way to the title of U.S. National Champion. She's supported by her mother. She's coached by Kevin Brown, and Brandy Johnson can finally say she's number one. Christy Henrich has climbed to the top of the USA ladder with a second-place finish in the all-around, second on balance beam, and second on unevens. But her performance on floor exercise was an excellent showcase of not only her strength, but her charisma. The third all-around finalist at Nationals was Sandy Woolsey. This second-year member of the national team is a 10-year veteran of the sport at age 17. Her strongest events have been vaulting and bars. Uncharacteristically, she didn't do her best on floor exercise, but still she finished third in the all-around. She's thrilled with what she accomplished at the Nationals.
I thought I did really well. I was really pleased with my performance, although I did fall on floor, which set me back. But that was okay because what I did, all the other performances, was really well.
A newcomer to the Nationals this year is Ester. This 15-year-old from Tulsa, Oklahoma wowed the crowd and amazingly finished 4th in the all-around. Her talent and potential on the uneven parallel bars has the entire world watching. She is a fierce competitor, and since the Nationals, her training has intensified.
Well, then I was just training real hard for championships, and I wanted to make the World Championship trials. So in between there, I've been training very hard, and I think I can make the team.
The only gold medal not won by Brandy Johnson was claimed by this gymnast, Shelley Stack. In the all-around, she placed 7th, but on the uneven parallel bars, she powered her way to the top. It's a great routine. You're watching it here. The judges agreed it was great. They awarded her a 9.725. Shelley Stack took the gold medal at the U.S. Nationals, first place on the uneven parallel bars. This is the U.S. national team of 1989, from a field of over 30 competitors down to the best 16, and they're here at Arizona State University. And we'll be back in just a moment with more on Brandy Johnson. She's still eligible to make the team. Site of these 1989 World Championship team trials. As we said at the beginning of this telecast, America's #1 gymnast, Brandy Johnson, is unable to compete. But oh, what a year she's had.
Ever since the Olympic Games in Seoul, she has just come on so strong. She's won every major competition she's been in. And in fact, a world ranking list just came out in World Gymnastics magazine. It's kind of an unofficial list, but she's ranked 4th right now in the world.
And that's including the Soviets and the Eastern Bloc nations, the traditional powerhouses in women's gymnastics. Let's take a look back at what Brandy Johnson has accomplished thus far. Brandy Johnson has the Midas touch. She claimed a gold medal at the 1989 America Cup, outscoring the Eastern Bloc, the USA, and Europe. She did the same thing against the Soviet Union in a duo meet. She's unable to be here, and the gymnasts miss her motivation.
I think it's really unfortunate that she couldn't compete because I was looking forward to competing against her because I was really ready to compete against anybody or anything because I was working at 10-0s. And if I can score a 10-0, then I can beat anybody.
So Brandy Johnson is missed on numerous points. She is also not motivating her teammates. And is she still eligible, though, to make the World Championship team? How does that work?
She is eligible. In the selection procedures, there's an area for petitions. She's already petitioned. A doctor has verified her illness. Her petition was accepted. And the second step in those criteria is that she has to finish in the top 4 in either the championships or the trials. Of course, she won championships, so she meets that. Now, today, if her scores remain in the top 4, counting championship score 100%, and she stays in those top 4, she will automatically be on the team.
So it sounds like she's a pretty safe bet.
Exactly.
All right, what they're striving for is to get to Stuttgart, Germany, which is where the World Championships will be had. The competition is about to begin. We've already had the compulsory event. Let's take a look at how the ladies stack up. Less than 1 point separates the top 4 gymnasts after 1 day of competition. The current leader is Wendy with a 54.25. In second place is 17-year-old Christy Henrich. At 4'11", her 54.23 has her looking at the top spot very closely. Finishing third is Sandy Woolsey. She's 17 years old, has more experience than some of the other gymnasts, and she's also capable of climbing to the top spot with a 54.03. Shelley Stack is currently in fourth place. At age 16, this 4' 10" powerhouse, a competitor from Scats, is looking also to climb with strong optional performances. She is a 53.35 all-around total. And finally, the lady who's riding the charts with a bullet. She finished 13th at Nationals, but she's climbed to 6th place with a strong compulsory showing. Watch her today in the optionals. So here are the top 10 gymnasts in the standings after the 4 compulsory events. Remember, they're trying for only 8 berths, and this is their last chance to make the team. We'll be back in a moment with our first event. Ester is standing by to vault. Championships team trials. Once again, I'm Leandra Riley along with Kathy Johnson, and since the 1988 Olympics, the rules for gymnastics have changed somewhat. Kathy, can you explain the scoring for us?
Well, they've changed to help differentiate between those top routines. As you'll see here, the value parts are worth 3 points. The value parts are down at the bottom. You see the competition 3 rules. They need 2 Bs, 1 C, and 2 Ds, which are the hardest value. The combination or the structure of the exercise is worth 1.5. The execution, 5.1. Now, here's where the change is. The bonus points, 0.4 of a point. All routines will be judged out of a 9.6 unless they get their bonus value, which is a little difficult to get. You have to have an extra D in your routine or moves of original combination or an original element. And those are all in the code of points.
All right, it sounds very complicated, but basically it's just a 10-point system, except now you have to earn them. It's not a given. Let's go now over to the vaulting competition. Our first competitor that we are going to see is the little powerhouse, Ester. She's only 4 feet 10 inches tall, and Ester is 15 years of age. Currently, she resides in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she is coached by Christy Kraft. Now, in vaulting, there really hasn't been a significant change since the Olympic Games.
No, the only change will be in the final competition, say at the Olympic Games or at the World Championships. They will have to perform 2 different vaults from 2 different families. So that's really the only change. They will perform 2 vaults today in the all-around competition. They'll score the best vault, and that score counts.
Competition, and that will happen at vault with a gymnast from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Gymnastics.
This is not Jenny's best event. She's extraordinary on the uneven bar. She has beautiful lines on all the events, and she's got good, clean form. But she's not quite as strong and powerful as some of the other gymnasts.
She's an excellent student, too. She carries a 4.18 grade point average.
She's performing a handspring front tuck. She does it very nicely. She could have gotten a little bit more distance from the horse. The height was ample. And, of course, the form. She's always very, very good in that category.
This is her first year on the national team as we take another look.
Now, this score is only worth a 9.9, and they actually raised the value of this vault. What's really nice is you see how tight her legs are together. Many people do what's called a cowboy, pull the knees out. Here again, good pre-flight, good push off the horse. Really, the only thing lacking was that distance. And, of course, it's not worth a 10.0.
She says her favorite gymnast is Daniela Silivash. Pretty lofty ideals.
She's going to be performing the same vault again, looking for more distance and, of course, a stuck landing, which is just so important in gymnastics. You can't give away that 10th of a point at the end of a routine or by not making your landing. Okay.
It looked like she landed far back on the takeoff board.
Exactly. She was really trying to get a little more power in the run, a little more explosiveness off the horse, but she over-rotated the ball. Huge step on the end, so naturally they'll take the first ball.
So her first vault is the one that will count as we take another look at what went wrong.
She had good push here, trying for a little more dynamics there, but definitely over-rotated.
You don't want to take that step forward. You want to stick it. Her score for the first ball was 9.412, and that will be better than the second. Now let's go over to the uneven parallel bars, and Wendy Bruce is the competitor. She's the leader after the compulsory event. Wendy Bruce is 16 years of age. She calls North Lauderdale, Florida, home right now.
She really came on strong in the compulsories, which is usually not her strength. Her optionals are much stronger. Nice opening. Front giant to a back giant. Pirouette right into her front. She's moving quite well. Little tighter toes and tighter leg form definitely help the routine. She's got enough difficulty. Giant full turn. Now you saw the leg separation on that one giant. That will be a deduction into a tuck double flyaway. Little hop on the landing. Now I think she normally does that full twisting giant right into her dismount. She added that giant in between.
Intentionally?
She was a little bit off on that first giant. I think she just did it for precaution.
So Wendy Bruce gives a solid performance on the uneven parallel bars.
This is Shari Knight.
Now here's her mount sequence. She hops her grip, straddles up to a handstand. This is a front giant, very difficult move. Loses a little bit of form there. Goes right into a back giant. Now, as you can see, her legs come apart, they cross a little bit throughout the whole routine. She just really needs to work on tightening up the form. Right there was the major leg break. She adds that giant, I think, because in warm-up, she was going directly into the double flyaway and a tuck double flyaway, which we're going to see this dismount over and over again. It's a very common dismount in gymnastics. And a hop on the landing.
And let's review the scores for the gymnasts we've just seen. Jenny Ester received a 9.45 for vaulting. And Wendy Bruce, the performer we just saw on the uneven parallel bars, scored a 9.587.
Bonus points. If they don't have any bonus points, their scores come from a 9.6.
Keeping those points in mind, let's introduce Juliet Bangerter. And this is her hometown, so you'll hear the crowd roar.
And someone told me before the meet that one of her school teachers told the class that if they came to the meet, they'd get extra credit. This is a good event for Juliet. Just watch for her to keep her good form now. Giant full pirouette over the top, right into a reverse head. Straddle back to handstand on the low bar, stalled her swing, right to a handstand. Not many gymnasts do that move anymore. Another giant swing with a full pirouette over the top, right into a tuck double flyaway. That'll give her some bonus points. She's definitely got the bonus here in this routine.
All right, we just saw Wendy Bruce get about a 9.5 for her routine. This score higher?
This should score higher. She has a little bit more difficulty in the routine. And remember, Wendy broke form a couple times in that routine. Juliet's form can be a little bit tighter, but it was a pretty good routine for her. That's her full pirouette over the bar. Now see, she should actually try and finish that a little bit closer to the handstand, but she goes right into a reverse hecht. That's her release move, otherwise known as a Tkachev. This is her final series. Leading up to the dismount, she does a giant, another full pirouette. See how she kind of straddles a little early into that. Tuck double flyaway. The value there is in the combination. She did two difficult moves back to back. That's how you get bonus points.
And that's what the judges are watching for in 1989. Now let's swing over to the vaulting competition. This is Christy Henrich. She may be a familiar face to some of our ESPN viewers because you saw her at the DTB Cup over in Germany a couple of years ago. She's been training very, very hard since then, has lost quite a bit of weight and added a lot of difficulty.
She's doing a round-off layout full, a terrific vault. One of the more difficult vaults performed. It scored from a 10.0. And Christy has really come on strong. At USA Championships, she did a super job, but she was coming off a tough injury. She had broken a vertebra in her back, was out for quite a while. It's a scary injury, too, but she came back, and she looks better now than she did at USA Championship. Trimmed down and in lots better shape. Look at the nice form in the air. She's a little bit off center there. That's going to cost probably a 1/10 of a point. We'll check her form on pre-flight. Very good. Good lift, good position. It can always be higher and a little farther from the horse, and that's probably what she'll try and do on this next ball.
Christy Henrich, 17 years old, 4 feet 11 inches.
She's performing the same vault again.
Christy's coached by Al Fong at the Great American Gymnastics Express.
Score for Christy Henrich.
In talking to Christy, she is really striving for perfection. She said in the interviews she wanted to try and score 10s because then nobody could beat her.
She got pretty close, 9.662. Now she has a chance to try to do it better.
And a nice ball. Little quick on the step to salute the judges. And again, she was slightly off center. And every time I've ever seen her do this vault, both at USA Championships and here, she's always just a tiny bit off to the side.
How do you correct that?
Well, look, she's a little off center actually going onto the horse, and it's just intensified because of the twist.
So to correct it, she's got to get the board in the center.
It's a tough thing to correct because everything is so minute. The details here to make that change is hard. Fortunately, since the judges are sitting on the side, they can't see that too well.
Christy Henrich received a 9.65 for that second fall. So let's recap the scoring. We saw Juliet Bangerter on the uneven parallel bars. She gave us the best score of the evening so far, a 9.612. Christy Henrich on the ball will use the 9.662 that she received on the first vault in her score. When we come back, we'll have the uneven parallel bars just ahead.
Nice giant. Reverse hecht. Good height on that. Straddle back to a handstand. She's moving quite well. She scored a 9.625 in the compulsories on this event. Did the best routine done yesterday. Giant full, little off center on that, goes right into top of the flyaway. Again, you're looking at bonus points when they combine the two difficult skills together. And of course, then she has an extra D in that routine, so she will get her bonus.
Extra D meaning an
Extra difficult
exceptionally
move.
difficult move. The gymnastics moves are rated A, B, C, and D. And of course, at this level, they're looking at a lot of Ds.
Exactly. This is competition 3 rules, so to get the extra D, you have to have 3. That was the giant fall, and that was really one of the only breaks in the routine. She was a little off center on that pirouette. Lost a little toe form there, but a good combination.
Sandy Woolsey is 17 years of age, is 5 feet tall, and the uneven parallel bars are her favorite event. Now we're looking at Shelley Stack, 16 years of age, calls Birmingham, Alabama home, but resides in Huntington Beach to train for gymnastics.
And she's been on a steady comeback trail since midway through the championship. She had actually dropped to 14th place due to a weak compulsory beam routine. She moved up to 7th by the end of the championship. She's now up into 4th place in the all-around, and this is a great event for her to start on. She's national champion on this event. Hop to mixed grip, front giant, to a back giant with a full pirouette, right into a reverse hecht. Good combination. Fulfilling all her requirements, going to the low bar. Giant swing with a full turn, right into a tuck double flyaway. Like I said, we're going to be seeing a lot of that combination. It's an easy way to get the bonus point.
We've seen it every dismount.
It's the compulsory optional dismount. No, I've even said if this team is going to be competitive worldwide, they're really going to have to increase the difficulty on the dismount. They're going to need more originality.
Another look at Shelley Stack.
This is showing why she became national champion on this event. Good combination here. Front giant to a back giant with a full turn on top of the bar. And she goes right into a Tkachev, or a reverse hecht. And the dismount, she added this since championships, a full pirouette again at the end of the routine, right into a tuck double flyaway. Good clean form, and she should score high.
Well, the scores have been climbing on the uneven parallel bars. We saw Wendy Bruce get a high score, then we saw that exceeded by Julie Bangerter, and now Sandy Woolsey has got the best score of the night, 9.687. Shelley Stack, even better, 9.737. So the adjusted all-around standings after this rotation show Christy Henrich is now our leader, followed by Wendy Bruce and Sandy Woolsey. We'll be right back.
And what they were trying to do is emphasize that the gymnast needs to do dance elements as well as acrobatic elements, and in fact combine them. They don't want to take away the artistry from gymnastics, and it was kind of going away from that.
One artist who's about to mount the balance beam is Wendy. We saw her on the unevens. Right now, she is still our leader. Here she is on the balance beam.
Now, this can really be a nerve-wracking experience. Balance beam in a trials is very, very difficult. You don't want to make any mistakes. There's a front somersault. She's usually very solid on this event. Like I said, competing in a trials, it's not like any other competition. It's do or done. You're really trying to make this team. Two back handsprings and layout step out. It's one of the more difficult moves done on balance beam. Conservative up there. She usually moves much more quickly and much more aggressively. Gainer layout step out. That was her mixed series, combining the dance right into that gainer layout step out. A little balance break there. Dismount, round off, double tuck. Good land.
Nice finish to a faltered routine.
It's really too bad, but she's up there on the top. It shouldn't really knock her too far down.
Certainly, I think what's in jeopardy would be, in essence, the first place finish. She's, I would say, a lock to get on the team.
Now, here's where the mistake happens. She does a front tuck, little low on the landing. That one foot just completely misses, slides down the beam. It's 5/10 of a point to deduction. But she came back to do her most difficult pass. Two back handsprings, right into a layout step out. Little sloppy on the leg for her.
Now we are ready for Sheryl Dundas. She too is competing on the balance beam. This is our first chance to look at Sheryl Dundas. She is 17 years old, one of the tallest gymnasts in the meet at 5 feet 4 inches tall.
Sheryl finished 9th at the USA Championship. She's now moved up to 7th. Round off back handspring up to the beam, one arm back handspring. Back handspring, layout step out. Good form. Now keep in mind it's going to be really difficult for the gymnast to move up in the optionals because the optionals are only counting 40%, the compulsories counted 60. Beautiful needle scale, showing balance and flexibility.
The reason the scores are weighted 60% in favor of compulsories, 40 for optionals, is because the U.S. traditionally doesn't do well in compulsories.
That's right, and historically speaking, a team hardly ever moves from their position after the compulsories. They stay in that same position locked in, so you really want to do well in compulsories, so they wanted to put an emphasis on that in this country.
So the United States decided to shake up American gymnastics and say, hey, we've got to focus on our compulsories. That's putting us in a deficit right out of the blocks. Let's improve in that department.
Gainer layout step out. You could see that was off right in, she was off center in the air already. She could not make the correction.
It's too bad because she's had such a solid routine up until then.
The girls are getting a little bit tense in the competition now. Two back handsprings to a double twist, very low on that landing. She barely pulled it around, and in fact had leg form deductions in there as well. It's too bad the routine started off very strong.
She's coached by Jim and Sheryl Jarrett. And a disappointing finish after a tremendous start.
Here was the opening pass. Back handspring layout step, but just solid as a rock. Now let's see if you can see exactly where it goes off. She kicks the leg. She's off center while she's in the air, and it's very difficult to make that correction. We'll take a look at the dismount. She does two back handsprings, into a double twisting somersault. Very, very low, legs crossed in the air, but she does pull it out.
We're going to take you back over to the uneven parallel bars where Kim Kelly is ready to compete. She's 16 years old, and she's a young lady who moved up so dramatically after the compulsory. She was 13 at the Nationals in the all-around competition, and then after yesterday's compulsory, she moved up to 6th place. She's still in 6th place after one rotation.
And while we were away, we were really talking about those jeopardy positions, those final 3 slots. They can't afford to make a mistake. We just saw Sheryl Dundas fall off the balance beam. The top kids, if they fall, they might drop a place or two, but they're still on the team. These guys are fighting for every tenth of a point. Half turn, kip to handstand. Giant swing with half turn to a Jaeger front. She has a back somersault down. I think she hit the floor. Pretty hard. That's going to be a fairly major deduction. Giant swing to a tuck double flyaway. She will have that deduction in the middle. And if you'll see in her position, she's not as stretched out as some of the other gymnasts. Really needs to work on good straight line on this handstand, leg form.
Kim Kelly of Parkettes. Right now, let's recap the scoring. First, for Wendy Bruce, she struggled on the balance beam. Didn't help her cause to regain first place, 8.987. Then Sheryl Dundas, also on the balance beam, scoring a 9.137. And finally, let's look at Kim Kelly's score on the unevens. She notched a 9.25. We'll be back with more on the uneven parallel bars after this.
She's doing a tremendous job in this routine. Good difficulty in the routine. Good swing. Giant full pirouette over the top, right into a tuck double back dismount. Excellent routine for her. She is really strong here at this competition. It's the best I've ever seen her look. She's very aggressive. She knows exactly what she wants to do, and she's going for it here.
After the first rotation, Christy Henrich overtook the lead. So now Wendy Bruce is chasing her. And this is only going to help her cause.
We might remind you, ladies and gentlemen, of how the scoring is operating. These athletes came into this competition with a score that represented 30% of whatever score they received in championships of the USA. And on even bars, the score for
We've got a full house here at the ASU Activity Center on the campus of Arizona State University. And now it is time for our next competitor on the uneven parallel bars, Jenny Ester, to do her routine. She's a high school sophomore.
The audience is in for a treat here with this routine. This is one of the best routines that will be done in this competition. She has excellent swing.
She's the gymnast we spoke about at the top of the show. The world is watching this young lady on the unevens. She's very young. Her potential unlimited.
I really think she could final in this event at the World Championships. She's got to make the team first. Giant swing. Most beautiful giant swings I've ever seen. To a pirouette. Jaeger front. Oh,
No.
she missed the Jaeger front. 0.5 of a point deduction. And as I said earlier, she's in one of those jeopardy spots. She's sitting in 5th right now, and you just can't afford to make those breaks. It's a sign of a young, inexperienced gymnast. It's a lot of pressure here. Giant swing to a reverse hecht. Beautiful form. And a tuck double black. Ah, what a shame, because it's a beautiful routine. I've never seen her miss her optional routine. She had trouble on compulsory bars yesterday. I just think I really believe it's the pressure that gets to her. So definitely not technical mistakes she makes. Pirouette right over the top. Now watch here. Nice height over the bar.
Looks
She
good.
just doesn't get her hands on the bar. Bounces right off. She actually hits on her wrist.
Actually, maybe hit too hard.
Well, she hit in the wrong place, because if you can't catch with these grips on there, the long grips, see, she's on her wrist.
Yes,
her
yes.
hands are not on the bar. She actually tries to bounce off her wrist, get her hands on the bar, and regrasp, and just missed.
Couldn't work it. Oh, what a tough break for Jenny Ester. Recapping the scoring, Christy Henrich on the unevens received a 9.812. And Jenny Ester, unfortunately with the fall, scores a 9.175. So the adjusted all-around standings after 2 rotations. Christy Henrich still the leader, followed by Wendy Bruce, Sandy Woolsey, Shelley Stack. Jenny Ester still in 5th, but she's opened the door.
And the battle is on between these gymnasts for those final coveted spots.
I'm Leandra Riley along with Kathy Johnson, and we are ready now to begin our third rotation, and this is a familiar face, Christy Henrich. Christy's about to compete on the balance beam, which has been the Waterloo for several gymnasts in this competition. Christy currently is our leader, you'll recall, after 2 rotations.
She's competing very well today. One arm back handspring up to the balance beam. She's very, very confident here. Switch leg leap, right into a jump. These are a lot of her special requirements. She's getting them out of the way. Setting up for a very difficult pass. She's the only one I know that does this. Back handspring, layout step out, right into a layout step out with a half turn. Excellent. That is such a difficult pass, and she goes right into the gainer back handspring. It's always nice to see a gymnast that's been obviously working very, very hard. Her consistency is showing that.
Now that's unusual. A stride leap sideways on the beam like that.
Christy has a good combination of difficulty in the routine with the acrobatic elements, but also nice form and nice dance.
She has really got some originality in this routine. Both in that tumbling pass with that half turn out, and then with the stride leap sideways on the beam.
It's her dismount sequence. Back walk over, 2 back handsprings to a double twist. She's really improved on that dismount too. She had the large hop at the end, but in the air she was much better than at the championships. Cleaner form. The extra work has definitely paid off for Christy. She got to the gym early today and was up on that balance beam working these skills. 2 layout step outs right into a half turn and goes right into a gainer back handspring. Very nice pass on the balance beam.
Very difficult pass. Now here's the leap.
It's what you're going to need to compete with the Europeans.
Stride leap facing sideways on the balance beam. I haven't seen that before.
I've seen it a couple times, but she does it quite well.
And now we are looking at Sandy Woolsey. She is ready to compete on the floor exercise event. This is our first chance to see the floor event. I love the choreography so much more now that we can use full musical score, not just the piano.
I think it really adds to the excitement of the routine, involves the audience more, a lot more energy. Alternate pass, it's a whip back through to a triple twist. Music is the theme from the Winter Olympics, getting in the Olympic spirit. And in reading all the bios, all these girls want to make the 92 Olympic team.
First this, then 92.
Middle pass is a double tuck. Good landing on that. Gymnastics series. 3 elements in a row. That's one of the special requirements of the floor exercise. And a double twist punch front. Good ending pass. Nice routine for Sandy.
Difficult dismount. Strong finish.
She had a beautiful first pass. Very difficult. And did it quite nicely.
Score for Kristen Canoyer on balance beam, 9.35. And our next athlete up is from the Parkettes.
Now here's that first pass. She does a whip back through to 2 back handsprings and a triple twist.
Wow.
Gets that all the way around. Nice move. And here's her last tumbling run. She does a double twist and then punches right into a front somersault. Good ending.
This was our first opportunity to look at the floor exercise event. Let's go through some of the requirements for this apparatus.
I pointed out
Nature's light, bathing fields of grain, enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
No one had any idea how this merger would shake up operations. We were at a standstill. There was no way to integrate information across platforms. We were losing opportunities, losing money.
So what happened?
Well, so I finally got together with the MIS people and called MicroAge. They put in an IBM Personal System 2 solution. MicroAge and IBM made it happen. Oh, waiter, I'll take that. And the credit.
MicroAge, authorized IBM business partner.
Welcome back to the 1989 World Championship Team Trials. I'm Leandra Riley along with Kathy Johnson, and we are at Arizona State University, where we are in the middle of our third rotation, and the competition on the balance beam continues now. We had a fall in the middle of a routine when the regrasp didn't work quite right on her release move. So let's see if she can rally back and do a strong performance here.
this will really be a test to the strength of her ability to compete, to really come back from a miss in a pressure situation. She's in 5th place here.
Each gymnast will be allowed to take her own coach to Stuttgart when they go to the team trials, so we'll be 6, 7, 8 coaches going.
Handspring layout step out. Working beautifully so far. Switch leg lead. Those are her 2 Sisson jumps. One of the special requirements connecting those series. Gainer layout step out. She is really aggressive on this event right now. It's the best I've ever seen her in this event.
Nice dance combination.
Again, we mentioned one of the requirements is going down low to the beam. That was one of them. Back handspring to a tuck jump. Little hesitation there. She's doing her gymnastics acrobatic series there. Preparing for the dismount. Round off. Triple twist. Little bit off. Didn't quite get that twist around and hopped off to the side of the mat, but that was the only mistake really in the routine. And that is a tough dismount off beat. You see a lot of double backs, but very rarely do you see a triple twist. This is a dismount. Interesting view. You really see how quick you have to be with those feet, and you can see how off-center she is. A little short on the twist, too.
9.487.
Floor exercise competition continues now with Wendy Bruce. This young lady is a teammate of Brandy Johnson, who's unable to compete due to an illness. Brandy, at this juncture at the Nationals, if we were to parlay her scores, would have an all-around total of 66. Right now, Wendy Bruce has an all-around total of 64.6. So almost a 2-point difference if Brandy were here and were to use those U.S. national scores.
This is one of Wendy's best events here. She's very, very powerful, particularly on the tumbling, front twisting double back. Her work is very similar to Brandy's. They have about the same style and the same strengths.
Wendy Bruce is a lady who won the international mixed pairs seen here on ESPN. She was teamed with a gymnast from China, Li Jing.
And her coach really feels it was at that point that she kind of came out of her shell.
Yes, I agree.
Middle tumbling pass is a whip back through to a double back. Double turn right into a straddle, half turn jump. last tumbling run. Finishes with a double full. It's a little bit of a weak ending. Really, in preparing for the World Championships, we're going to have to see double backs at the end. And in fact, her teammate, Brandy Johnson, her coach just told me she's going to be doing a full twisting double back at the end of her routine. And that's going to be par for the course over there.
And Dixon on balance beam scored 8.875.
We've seen a few dismounts. So take a look at the tumbling here. Maybe you could rank for us what tumbling moves are more difficult than others.
Well, anytime you get into the somersaulting moves, double backs with full twist, those are the most difficult moves you're going to see. The difference is many of the gymnasts will be ending their routines with those. And you'll also see laid out full twisting double backs. And in fact, I've seen double twisting double backs. So we've come a long way in gymnastics, and the Americans are really going to have to push for that difficulty to be competitive. And I'm sure she's working to do a double back at the end here as well.
So a double back is more difficult to execute than a double twist.
Yes.
Sheryl Dundas is our next competitor on the floor exercise. Currently in the all-around standings, she is in 7th position. That's after 2 rotations today, and of course with all the computations from nationals and compulsories factored in. Sheryl Dundas was born in Aurora, Colorado. Currently resides in Austin, Texas.
She's done well in every event except the balance beam. Her last event, she had a fall. Lay out in, double back. Nice clean form. See how she extended the first somersault and then piped the second.
She had great tumbling on the beam. Too bad she fell towards the end of the routine.
Middle tumbling run. Front with a full. Very, very weak. She landed low. That's going to cost her. Nice leap in the air, right to a double turn. She has a nice expression in her dance, and the judges are looking for that. For the last tumbling run, a double back, really pulled it around. That's tough on the knees.
Sheryl Dundas, 17 years old, a high school senior at Pflugerville High.
And she was really plagued by injuries at the USA Championships. They were really bothering her, but she seems to have come back stronger. She looks better here than she did at championships, and she's moved up. This is that middle tumbling run. She does a front with a full twist. She breaks form in the air, but is very low and a low landing. That's going to be the major deduction in the routine. And I'm glad to see her doing this double back at the end of her routine. It's not the easiest thing for her to do, and you can see that she really has to work at it. Strong lift on the takeoff and pulls it around, and like I said, that's tough on the knees.
So let's recap the scoring for the gymnasts that we've seen. First on the balance beam, we saw Jenny Ester. She received a 9.3 run 2. Then Wendy Bruce competed on the floor exercise, receiving a 9.662. And finally, Sheryl Dundas on floor, receiving a 9.4. That completes 3 rotations, so the adjusted all-around standings after 3 events look like this. Christy Henrich is still the leader, followed by Wendy Bruce and Sandy Woolsey.
And Shelley Stack and Kim Kelly are moving very steadily, remaining in their position. Jenny Ester had a little bit of trouble, but came back strong in the balance beam.
Our coverage of the World Championship Team Trials will continue. We still have more competitors on vaulting and Florex. And we are back at the vaulting competition, where you're looking at Sandy Woolsey.
And Sandy is sitting pretty going into this final rotation. She's going into vault. She does a very strong vault, one of the most difficult vaults done. She's doing a round-off layout with a full twist.
Safe to say she has just about made the team unless she really wipes out. She's currently in 3rd position.
Good approach. Nice vault. Again, off-center. Many of the girls doing this vault tend to go off-center on it. It's a very difficult vault. It's a blind move. You have to go backwards onto the board, backwards onto the horse, and it happens so quickly. Good lift up off the horse. Could be a little tighter in the legs, a little higher on the landing, and of course, dead center on the mat would be ideal. But overall, pretty solid vault.
And of course, she has an opportunity now to improve on that score. In case you're just joining us, the vaulting rules that we are using is that each gymnast is entitled to execute 2 vaults. It is only the higher score that will carry.
Sandy has really been consistent all year in all the qualifying meets, the American and U.S. Classic, which qualified them to the USA Championships. She was first in one, second in the other. She's just really done great this year.
I think you could hear our public address announcer, Jan Clare, announcing that the score for the first vault was 9.625, so now she'll have an opportunity to try to better that number.
Much better vault. Look at the distance she got from the horse. The height was better, the position in the air. She was more centered on the mat. It was just completely a different vault from the first one.
So the hometown girl does well, and the crowd appreciates it. Her classmates and her teammates on hand to congratulate her.
I'd be willing to bet that's the best she's ever done that vault. Good approach. So much more height and distance. This vault takes a tremendous amount of concentration. As I said, to hit that board going backwards and then get onto the horse. And the vault itself, very difficult and done very well.
And you know she'd love to take this crowd with her to Stuttgart. Score for the second vault, 9.8.
I think that's the highest score we've seen here today.
She earned it. Currently third in the all-around standings after 3 rotations. She locked herself into the top 3 of American gymnastics with that score. Juliet, Bangerter, Wendy, Woolsey. What a great way to end the meet. What a confidence booster she heads overseas. The gymnasts will leave from here and go to France. From France, they'll go through a training camp, and then it's to the World Championships in Stuttgart. Shelley Stack is our next competitor. She was an Olympian in 1988. Valuable experience for this young athlete. She's also competing in the vaulting apparatus. Again, a reminder, she's currently in 4th in the all-around standings.
And she's performing the same vault that we just saw Sandy do. It's a Yurchenko or a round-off vault into a layout with a full twist. Nice vault. Little pike in the air. That will cost her a little bit, but she's more centered in the mat. Good distance. She really wants to try and lay that out, though, and not show that pike position. She comes on a lot higher onto the horse than Sandy did. In fact, it almost looked like she was on fingertips. Yep, she was on fingertips. But a good position. Right after she finished the full turn, though, she pikes down. I don't think she needs to do that. She's got plenty of height, plenty of rotation.
And of course, she has a second opportunity now to try to better that score. The judges have given Shelley Stack the go-ahead. You saw her score for the first vault. And now she is ready for her second vault. This young gymnast competes for the Scats Gymnastics Club, where she is coached by Don Peters in Huntington Beach, California.
Trying to improve on this vault. Layout, much better position, but the landing wasn't as good as the last one, so it's kind of a trade-off. It'll be interesting to see what the judges do with it, because overall, it was a better vault.
Christy on floor exercise scored 9.225, and we'll move right on to our next competitor at floor.
Let's take a look at the mechanics of the vault.
This is Jennifer Mercier.
Good entry onto the horse. Again, right on her fingertips. It was a better position in the air, but the landing wasn't as good.
In both cases, the second vault was the better vault. Sandy Woolsey, 9.8. And Sheryl Stack received a 9.625. We'll be back. Jenny Ester, currently among the field here. She is in 6th place in the standings. Of course, if you factor in Brandy Johnson, she's in 7th place in the standings. Jenny Ester has a very, very slim lead over Sheryl Dundas and Shari Knight, and of course, she's in hot pursuit of Kim Kelly. So this is a lady who could still move after this event. She needs a strong performance.
Exactly. Although the ranking doesn't matter that much, they just want to get in those top 8 spots. But still, 7th, 8th, those are various positions. Whip over due to a triple fold. Short on the rotation on that twist, but she recovered. It's her gymnastics series. Still very young, but has quite a lot of charm. She'll learn to play with that music a little more, show some facial expression. Double tuck for the middle tumbling run. Excellent landing. This music should be very popular in Europe. Everyone knows it. Finishes with a triple twist. Triple twist. Oh, short on the landing again and the twist. That's going to cost her. She might not get her bonus. She most likely won't get her bonus by getting credit for that triple twist at the end.
The score for Lisa Panzeroni on vault.
Take a look at her first tumbling run. Actually, her second tumbling run. Double bat. Good landing.
And in just a couple of moments, we'll be ready to go with our next competitor.
And here's the end where she had the trouble.
Plainview, New York.
The takeoff was not as good as it should be. She only made 2 3/4 of the twist and stumbled out of it.
And now let's move quickly back to the vaulting competition, where Wendy Bruce, the young lady who is currently in 2nd place behind Christy Henrich in this particular competition, just fractions away from Henrich. This is her final event. And as you saw by the graphic, at the U.S. Classic, she did quite well, taking the gold on vault.
It's a great event for her. Laying out, full twist, good position. It's much more dynamic than a lot of the vaults that we've seen. It's an interesting story from the championship. She really had trouble with this vault and actually balked. Thought she was going to get a 0 and found out she had another shot at it. She actually over-rotated over the horse, but still got good push-off. You can see right here where she just about misses the horse on the back side, but does get her fingertips on, enough to really get a good push. Little off-center on that landing.
But a big smile from her, certainly after the debacle at Nationals, where she balked on the first 3 and then was walking away, and the judges said, hey, wait, you have a 4th chance. She didn't think she did.
That's right.
Came back and did manage to get a respectable score, and obviously that qualified her to be here this evening.
There's a new rule change, because according to the old rules, she would have gotten 0. She was done.
Well, she's glad to have this first vault under her belt. You can see the score for the first vault.
Now we go with vault number 2.
She's finishing up a tremendous competition here. She came on really strong in the compulsories, and she's held it throughout.
The lady she's chasing, Christy Henrich, is going to compete on the floor exercise. We'll see her later on. Second vault for Wendy Bruce.
Good speed on the run. Nice position. A little short. She opened up, tried to show that flare in the position, and was going for a stick.
But still, she's happy from the first vault, I'm sure. Coached by Kevin and Rita Brown. You're looking at
We
Kevin
have a
there.
short conference going
Altamont
on floor
Springs in Florida.
exercise.
I actually liked the vault better in the air because she showed a much prettier position after the twist. Watch this. Flares out, arms go out to the side. She was going for the stick, but opened up a little bit too much. Another good angle to see this vault. The lift up off the horse. So crucial to that vault.
second vault.
Sheryl Dundas is ready to compete. She's going to do the first of her 2 vaults. This is a strong event for her as well. At the U.S. Classics in Texas, she bronzed on this apparatus.
She's performing a round-off layout vault, and it's only scored from a 9.7, so she really has to strive to make it absolutely perfect to try and get a high score. She had good position onto the horse. I would have liked to have seen the laid-out position a little longer, a little more extended. She piked down, which actually caused the hop at the end. See, watch here. She pikes in, then opens up very briefly, but then pikes down again. Not severely, but to really try and get that high score, she's got to lay it out all the way through the vault. And of course, not take that step.
Score for Sheryl Dundas, 9.337. We're now ready with vault number 2.
Sheryl Dundas is now ready to perform her second vault. You saw the first score. 9.3.
All right, a better vault for her. Good landing. It's actually a little bit better than the first one, even in the air. Overall, just a better vault.
Congratulations by Jim Jarrett to Sheryl Dundas.
Good position on the horse. Nice flared opening. See how she held the layout a little bit longer. It makes it look so much better, and the landing was perfect.
Recapping the scores, Jenny Ester with a 9.1 on Florex. Wendy Bruce on her first vault had the better score, 9.775. And Sheryl Dundas, the second vault was better with a 9.475. The floor exercise, and one of the final competitors that you're about to see is Kim Kelly. And what a tremendous comeback this has been, from 13th at Nationals to currently 5th position.
Both she and Shelley Stack have probably made the moves of the competition. Opens with a full twisting double bat. A little bit low on the landing, but no steps out of it. She actually had an injury the first part of the week. It hurt her back. They took her to the doctor, and she's worked out light all week long. Hasn't seemed to have bothered her. Full and a half twist, through to a double twist.
Coached by Bill and Donna Strauss, competes for Parkettes in Pennsylvania. High school junior.
Gymnastics series, 3 leaps in a row. Building up toward the end of the routine. Getting a little bit of rest before your last tumbling run. Finishes with a double tuck. The landings have all been so good. A little bit low on the rotation. But she's not giving away any deductions on the landing. And I think she's just made that team. Saw our coaches in the background giving each other a hug.
Juliet Bangerter scored 8.875. We have another floor exercise to go. And therefore
this is her middle tumbling run, a full and a half twist step out through to a double twist. It's a nice combination.
to our final competitor before the award ceremonies. And by the way, while the computers are
Take a look at the last tumbling run. She's very good at pulling those tucks around and just nailing the landing.
16-year-old Kim Kelly.
Tremendous comeback from 13th, now presently sitting in 5th, and this can't hurt her.
What a great experience this will be for her.
Good confidence booster going over to Europe to compete against the world's best.
Well, just put your own mindset in it. If you had finished 13th at Nationals coming into this event, would you realistically think you had a chance?
Well, I had a pretty tough job ahead of me at Olympic trials in '84. I almost didn't make that team. Went out on my first event and actually scored in the 7th and didn't think it was mathematically possible. So I've seen climbs like that all through the years. Marcia Fredericks back in '79 came back to make the team. And it's always fun to watch. Good competitive spirit.
Always adds to the drama. And now you're looking at Christy Henrich, our leader after 3 rotations. She's ready to compete on the floor. What is putting pressure on her is the fact that Wendy Bruce, the lady who's currently in 2nd place, did so well on the vault. She wants to finish first, albeit not factoring in the Brandy Johnson situation.
Of all the gymnasts here, she probably has the best facial expression. She really gets into the music and performs. Many of the others, they just do the routine. They do it well, but she performs it, and this is something all the others really need to work on. Very low on that landing, but pulls it out.
Well, we saw her with that in the warm-ups. She didn't look real strong in the warm-ups.
I think she could be a little bit tired. She came in early, started warming up long before anybody else, stayed at the end of the compulsories yesterday, and her workout. That was a completely blown pass. Yes. We'll have to look again at that at the replay and see exactly what happened.
You could see her blink her eyes.
It's a major mistake, but it shouldn't jeopardize her position on the team. Because she's had such a tremendous competition, it's a shame to end like this.
Let's see how she can do her dismount. She took
Well, she's supposed to do a double back. Pulls it around. There, again, low. Like I said, she just looks tired. I honestly thought, and probably would have done so myself, opted to do a double twist. Not done the most difficult tumbling man.
She's blinking and shaking her head. She does not look right. She's fighting back certainly the emotions of it. But
Tough way to end a great competition for her, though.
Now, she's the one who had a broken vertebrae in her back.
Now let's see exactly what happened. This is the first tumbling run, and she really worked for this one. She did a whip over through to a double back, and when you start out this week in a floor exercise, it would be like starting out to run a half a mile and dying in the first quarter of the race. It's really tough. She does a front handspring, front with a full twist, step out. Did not have enough power here. And that was not what she planned to do at all. Exactly.
That's what concerned me. She snapped her head. And then she blinked. Now watch her face here. She comes up after she snaps her head down.
Yeah.
You see her hit the deck. Now watch, she'll come up and she'll blink. Watch it right here. She's blinking it off. She is dazed.
Well, I know exactly why she's blinking. She usually does a double back there. And whether she realized she was stopping herself, she did the right thing. She didn't pull for a double back.
So Christy's upset with her performance while the trainers look at her neck. This is just her second meet since she fractured that cervical vertebrae. But right now, let's take a look at the scores. First for Kim Kelly on the floor exercise event, 9.537. And for Christy Henrich on the floor, 8.437. When we come back, we'll recap the scoring, and Kathy will interview the winner. Really vaulted herself back into the lead with this 9.775 on her last event, the vault. She overtook Christy Henrich for the lead. Wendy Bruce is now standing by with our Kathy Johnson.
First of all, Wendy, congratulations on making the World Championship team. In spite of the one fall, do you think this was the best competition you've had?
Yes, I got really stronger in compulsories, so my compulsories were a lot better, and I was solid on my optionals, so my optionals was good.
What do you think this is going to mean going into the World Championships?
Well, it places me high on the team, so when they pick the order of the events, Mr. Brown has, pretty much control on where he wants me to go.
Everyone knows your teammate wasn't here with you. Did that make a difference in your performance today?
We all wish she could be here, but mostly we just think about ourselves and what we have to do. So, we all wish she was here.
Well, congratulations again, and good luck at the World Championships. Okay, back to you, Leandra.
Now let's meet the World Championship team. Brandy Johnson, by virtue of her performance at Nationals back in July, has actually qualified first. They carried over her all-around score of 77 points. Wendy Bruce, the winner today, qualifies second with a 75.54 all-around total. Christy Henrich of Great American Gymnastics qualified third.
After Christy's mishap on floor, she was suffering from muscle spasms in her neck. So as a precaution, since she had recently had a neck injury, they took her in for x-rays. Let's hope everything checks out okay.
Sandy Woolsey qualified fourth, her all-around total 75.31.
With the support of her home crowd, she came up with some of the highest scores in the meet to maintain her position on the team.
Shelley Stack finished fifth. Great job for Shelley, as well as number 6, Kim Kelly.
Yes, she's back to her Olympic form, having no major breaks in this competition. And like Shelley, Kim Kelly hit 8 out of 8 routines here and moved up from 13th place.
Jenny Ester finished in the 7th position. Her all-around score, 74 points.
And she's one of the most promising young gymnasts on the horizon today. Few problems, but managed to stay in there.
And Sheryl Dundas is our final qualifier, finishing 8th. She's headed to Stuttgart. Now let's take a look at the entire team that is headed to Stuttgart, West Germany. We wish them the best of luck. They did a fine job here, and we have confidence they'll do a fine job over there. And right now, we're going to let you meet the competitors that you didn't get to see. But here's how they finished. Their presence here, though, was inspirational as they forced the top 8 gymnasts to do their very best. Once again, our congratulations to Wendy Bruce, winner of this day's competition. I'd like to thank you, Kathy Johnson. It was a pleasure working with you. On behalf of the staff here at Arizona State University, thank you very much for all your help. I'm Leandra Riley. So long, everyone.